What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Seven Figure Flipping Podcast. This is Bill Allen. I have a different show for you guys today, and I'm really excited about it. This is somebody who is 3D printing houses out of plastic. 100,000 water bottles make one house. And they're building houses from 100 square feet all the way up to 1,500 square feet for as little as under $20,000. And they're shipping them all across the country, about to be all across the world. And there's two things that we talked about today. One was how you can actually get one of these houses if you need an ADU, you want a workspace in the backyard, you have a glamping resort or an Airbnb location or a farm like me or some land and you want to drop one of these over there. And he's opened up a round of investments for investors. And it's not just accredited investors, it's anyone. It's a crowdfunding round just for the month of April. So if you're listening to this after April 2024, then there might be some opportunities for you to invest by going to their website. But in the month of April, they are going in a crowdfunding round to raise some capital for their next steps of their business. So I've never really brought somebody like this on or a product like this into the show before, but as an investor and as somebody who's likely going to buy one of these things to put it on my farm, I wanted to bring it to you because it really is cutting edge technology. I think it's going to disrupt an entire industry. And I don't know, there's nobody else doing this. They have a patent there. They have some trade secrets. They have some really cool things going on as a company. And when you meet somebody like this and you have the opportunity to bring them in before they're huge and massive and publicly traded on the stock market, to have an opportunity like this is like unbelievable. So this is an amazing show. I had such a great time interviewing Gene, and I think you guys are really going to like what they're doing and be kind of amazed by it. And I'm interested to hear your feedback. If you guys just respond to the email that you get or email me at info@sevenfigureflipping.com, I'm very interested to see if this is something that you guys are interested in, that you like, if it's something that you may consider investing in, and just let me know. Give me some feedback because I really enjoyed this show. I really enjoy bringing things like this to the forefront, and I have no dog in the fight. Like there's no kickback. There's nothing that I get for this. I just saw an opportunity, and it's very rare that the investor that has the minimum investment is $250. $250 or more is able to get into a company like this before anybody else finds out about it. So I thought this was a great opportunity to bring it to you, and I just wanted to kind of be there to support you if it helps you in your financial future, in your business, anything like that. So without further ado, we're going to run the theme music and then I'll be on with Gene. Absolutely amazing show.
My name is Bill Allen, and I'm the leader of a group of elite house flippers and wholesalers called Seven Figure Flipping. We don't brag or show off our success, but instead let integrity and stewardship be our guide. We are dedicated to helping people unlock the freedom they desperately need. If you ask other real estate investors, they will say to keep your secrets quiet. But we believe in abundance, not scarcity. And that's why we are the elite. We are Seven Figure Flipping, and this podcast is our playbook.
Hey everybody, we're back, and I think this show is probably a little different than what you hear coming from me, but I met this gentleman at our a conference that I was just at. It was a mastermind group of other people who are doing really big things in real estate, and him and his team are doing something that I've never seen done before, and I'm actually really excited about it. It's something that I'm really interested in. I think it's the future of our country and honestly the future of the world. We really need to get more affordable housing, cheaper prices, things like that. And I think it's going to help a lot of you, especially those of you that are doing Airbnbs, short-term rentals, ADUs. We're going to talk about all that stuff today. So I'm really excited to bring them on today because there's lots of different ways that you as a homeowner and individual and investor can actually get involved with what they're doing as a company. So it's a little different than the flipping and the tactical stuff that we're talking about today, but I think this is really like world changing, and this is going to be one of the first shows that you hear him on, which is really exciting. So I want to introduce you guys to my guest today, Gene Eidelman. Gene, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Bill.
It was really awesome meeting you and hearing what you guys are doing in your business, and I'm really excited for the folks at home to hear. So can you give us a little introduction on kind of who you are and then what you guys are doing?
Sure. So I'm co-founder of Azure Printed Homes, and our company is the first one to 3D print homes using recycled plastic. We wanted to find a way to build faster, less expensive, and with less environmental impact, and worked on this technology for close to 4 years, and invented a way to start doing it last May.
So 3D printing homes. So probably a lot of people that are listening, they've seen like 3D printed toys and things like that, like small scale 3D printing, or they might have heard of it and not even seen it. Could you just explain kind of like what 3D printing is and how you can actually like 3D print a house?
Sure. Yeah. Conceptually, it looks very much the same as 3D printing, 3D printing toys. It's just much larger, right? So we use a very large robotic arm, and to it we attach an extruder. Extruder is a piece of equipment that basically takes any material and melts it, right? So in our instance, the material we use is 65% recycled plastic. The balance is fiberglass and other materials, we call them additives, such as UV stabilizer, material to protect for fire, so on and so forth. So basically, we take our material, we have this, develop our formulation, and then we take the little pellets of this material. It gets sucked into extruder. Extruder melts it, and then layer by layer, with the help of this robotic arm, it literally prints every house. This extruder is very powerful. It can melt 120 pounds of material per hour. So for a structure that uses 3,000 to 4,000 pounds of our material, it takes under 24 hours to print the whole module. So what we basically do is we 3D print, or we make the module that consists of the roof, 2 side walls, and the floor. And then the way the process works also is pretty incredible. Kind of the moment the first layer gets laid, it's in semi-liquid state. So by the time the next layer is laid, it's still kind of semi-liquid, so it very tightly attaches to it. But literally 5 minutes later, and you have this material that's extruded at 1,000 degree, cools off very quickly. So yeah, so layer by layer gets attached to the next layer, and the whole structure is done in 24 hours. Now after that, we need time to finish it. Basically, interior finishes are done in a very similar way to the way traditional construction is done. For a small unit that's like a backyard studio that doesn't have plumbing, of course, it has electric, units are very well insulated, it takes us 5 days. But we also make larger units that have a bathroom, shower, kitchenette, plumbing, mechanical, electrical, anything you would find in a regular unit. That takes 3 to 4 weeks to finish.
So this created hundreds of questions in my head. The one thing that if you are listening to the podcast on any podcast platform, I encourage you to go to YouTube. What we're going to do is I'll embed a link of a video of the actual house being created that Gene has. And so I'll grab that from him so you can actually see what it looks like. And we'll put a video in there and also a bunch of other images and pictures of some of the houses that they've created. So we'll make sure that you're able to actually see what he's talking about, because when he was talking through it, he would just, hey, look at this video. And I watched the video, and in a few seconds, you see like an entire house time lapse be created. So we'll drop that in there. So if you want to check that out, go to our 7-Figure Flipping YouTube channel, and we'll make sure that you see that. So Gene, where's all the recycled plastic come from? So where are you guys sourcing that, and how is it helping the environment?
Sure. Yeah, during this process, as we were looking for best material to print, we realized, or just talking to people in the industry, that only 6% of plastic gets recycled. So the other 94% of plastic gets dumped into, landfills and ocean floors. There is plenty of this material, and the material we use is what empty water bottles, water bottles are made. So it's PETG. There is plenty of it, and somebody asked me a question as I spoke, whether we'll have enough of this material. We might become one of the largest user of this material as time goes on, and we expand around the country and around the globe. there is so much of this material that gets recycled every day, every minute. So we work with 4 different suppliers. So there is just plenty of this material everywhere. So it's really a matter of working with people who can provide to us material in a very consistent format, because before we use it, we want to make sure that it meets our criteria. And like I said, 65% of this recycled plastic. Then the 30% is fiberglass. Fiberglass is what adds rigidity to the product. Fiberglass is now used even to replace like iron rods in cement. So it's very, very strong material. And so the combination of the two, if you were to kick the tires, if you were to check out our material, it feels like it's cement, but it really isn't. It's incredible sustainability effect. People say, can you do net zero? We're actually net plus, because we take what's waste, instead of it going to be just thrown away. We're able to use it for a very good purpose. And that's what allows us to reduce the cost, because we don't use any lumber, we don't use any roofing material. We have, because it's solid structure, we don't need waterproofing. Because we use 3D printing, we're not limited to having just squares or rectangulars. We're not limited by a 2x4. So our shapes have some curves to them. People said they're sexy. I mean, it's and it takes 100 to 150,000 empty water bottles to make every one of our modules, depending on the size. So a 9x13, 120 square feet unit takes 100,000 empty water bottles, which is just, if you think about it, it's like incredible how much stuff we throw away every day.
Yeah, I think there's a really cool mission there. As we were talking, you and I, at the event, and you were telling kind of your origin story and how you were working as running a contracting company there, and just looking outside of every project that you did with a dumpster full of all the waste that was there. And when you were talking about this product, it was really incredible to say, if we have any waste, we just like put it back in the machine and run it again. And so,
yeah, no, really exactly. Powerful. I mean, in general, making homes in the factory is a much more efficient. But we really believe in the circular economy, taking waste to make a unit. And then later on, if like I told you, if the print doesn't go well or we have some extra material, we just throw it back in and reuse it. So really have ability to, and there's so many customers, especially younger customers, who just love the sustainability aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm definitely not a young guy anymore, but I love this concept. Like, it really is needed. Who else is out there kind of printing houses? I know there's some other 3D printing companies, and you were talking about how you're the first company to print with plastic. What are other people using, and why didn't you guys land on that?
Yeah, so the company has probably got the most notoriety, and they're very good, one of the pioneers. It's a company called Icon. They're based from Austin, Texas, and they've been printing using cement now for probably over 5 to 6 years. There is another company based in California called Mighty Buildings. They print using cement-like material, stone-like material. Many of us have seen videos of 3D printing with cement. And actually, when you see a video, it gives you a good idea of how our technology works. But the challenges with that is, first of all, cement itself is not very good for the environment. It emits a lot of CO2 in the process of making cement. Now, lots of people are trying to decarbonize it, have less CO2. Secondly, with cement, of course, it's very heavy. So you couldn't make it in the factory and then transport it, because the structure itself would be very heavy. So Icon, Mighty Buildings, other companies that use similar technology have to bring equipment to a site. The time and the cost of bringing this heavy equipment to the site is very expensive. So what you find is that it's most applicable for developers who do like 100 homes. If you want to do 100 homes, then the cost of bringing equipment to the site might make sense. But if you want to make just 1 unit or 10 units, that becomes not economical. And finally, cement, it was less expensive than lumber, say, during COVID, but now during COVID, it's kind of back to what the normal was. And so cement is more expensive. So again, looking at the cost of building with cement is, it's, if anything, as or more expensive than traditional way. So for all those reasons, we didn't think, we loved, I mean, really looking at the videos of 3D printing with cement is what gave us idea. But I told my partner, I said, look, I love the idea of 3D printing with anything but cement. And so, it's like with any new technology, there are steps in evolution of how you come out with a better product, with product that makes sense. So yeah, that's a little bit of the background.
Yeah, and seeing that what you guys are doing, the prints have an outer wall and an inner wall, and then you're able to actually insulate in between those two. So if you can kind of picture an outer and inner wall of plastic, and then being able, do you guys spray insulation in? How do you guys put insulation?
We spray insulation, and as a basis, it's R30 insulation. But we have customers in some colder climates like Montana and Massachusetts. And we can insulate, we can, exactly what you said, the different, the spread between inner wall and outer wall, if we make it a little bit wider, for every inch of width or space that we leave for insulation, we achieve extra R7. So we can get to R42 or R49 by just leaving a couple more inches. So again, that's the beauty of 3D printing, is it's highly customizable, and we can have more insulation. The units are very quiet inside. I love when we take I've taken our unit to a convention hall where, how convention halls are just very, very noisy, but if you close the door, it's so peaceful and quiet. So, yeah.
Okay, can you explain that to me? So inside, you're bringing a house into a convention hall, so they can be moved easily. How does that work?
Yeah. They're very light. So a unit that's 9 by 13 is 6,000 pounds. So, we have units on wheels, so you can have a pickup truck tow it. And then, when it's, so for convention center, when we bring it to the shows, it really is, you literally just have a pickup truck that can pull it. For installation on difficult sites, so we've installed some of these units behind large 2-story homes. It takes a crane. It weighs almost as much as a jacuzzi, so a crane can pick it up and take it over. In terms of the sign of a well-insulated unit is that air doesn't go through. So that's why when you close it, they're very quiet, and the reason is because there's just air doesn't come through. So that's just to demonstrate how well insulated it is.
Is it fully fitted when they get installed like that? They get delivered, so it's got the kitchen and the bathroom, if there's a bathroom, and all that stuff is fully done, and then it just gets lifted and put in place?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's another thing. We started working on this during COVID, and contractors like us had real challenges working in someone's backyard on an ADU when there's a family, and there's all kinds of, the kids would have a virtual lesson, so they didn't want us to make much noise. So it just makes sense that finish it in the factory. We can work longer hours. We're not limited by any kind of when it rains or too hot or too cold. We work in every environment in the factory. And when it comes to the site, totally finished in site. Now you still need to do, of course, the site work, pull utilities to the site, and do a foundation. Even for foundation, you do not need a slab. I mean, if you think about how the homes are built, there isn't usually need a slab, but that creates a floor, right? In our instance, we print the floor. So we just need a raised perimeter foundation to which the unit will be attached. It's really important to attach it properly because that solves the seismic issue, places where there are earthquakes, or high wind. We've designed it so they can withstand the hurricane winds. And that's done by attaching it to the raised foundation. But really, utilities are plug and play. We have an electrical panel on the back. We have a plumbing connections under the unit, and so having raised foundation kind of creates a place to easy connect. Really, it for a smaller unit it takes 4 hours to install it. For a unit with plumbing, it takes 2 to 3 days, but nothing to be done on the inside.
Wow, it's really incredible. What is the plan for the company? So I know you guys are on the West Coast and out of LA, and then as you expand, so like if somebody on the East Coast wants a house, you're building it and then actually trucking it across the coast. Is that a high cost for the consumer to get it? What does that look like?
Yeah. So a very good question. So we started the company in LA, and that's where and just yesterday had a grand opening of our brand new facility. We started in a small factory with one printer, and then, but due to demand, expanded to a new, larger facility. We're in 20,000 square feet plant, with 3 printers. And right now, we're making all the deliveries from our current facility. We received a approval. We received a $3.9 million, very low interest rate loan from state of Colorado to open our first facility east of the Rockies. So before the end of the year, we'll be making units in the Denver area, and by next year we will be our goal is to have one factory in every time zone. But even now, the cost of shipping have come down since COVID, so the prices are very competitive. And unless we ship it during Christmas when it's everybody else ships. But if we can work with a customer to ship it when it's kind of in off time, and we can deliver them anywhere, So it takes, again, depending on how far it goes, up to 2-3 days to deliver all the way across country, and the cost is very, very reasonable. I mean, the cost of shipping is under 10% of the cost. So even with shipping, still very, very comparable, very competitive price.
Yeah, it's at 6,000 pounds or so for the smaller ones. It's almost like a car. So, shipping a car is not overly expensive. I just brought a car over from the UK, shipped it to Georgia, and then I had a truck bring it here. So, very affordable, and only takes a couple days for me to get it, at least on the truck here. So, can ship anywhere in the US. I guess the 48 states, I suppose. Or are you shipping also to Hawaii?
Yeah, no, we're exploring right now, shipping a number of units to Hawaii. There were about 7 months ago, there were devastating fires in Maui.
Yep.
And so we are working on an RFP to ship to Maui. And then we have customers who are really interested to ship it in other places. So we're exploring shipping them to Caribbean and Central America. So even shipping it, you gave an excellent example. There are cars being shipped all over the world, and our units are kind of fall into the same category. Easy and fast to ship. So we're open to shipping anywhere.
Who's the best user of something like this? Like, who's the customer that you see? Is it just like you mentioned, building 50 of them or 100 of them on site? Like, is it a one-off customer? Is it you're building a big RV park where you're using these or something?
We've been pretty much very surprised and pleased by people who have great ideas of what to use our units for. So kind of the main idea that we had when we started this was they can be a great ADU, right? A unit in your backyard. And for people who buy properties and then flip them, it's while you're doing renovation on the main house, you could also install another unit on the back, that can be a rental, or some people actually move into a brand new facility in the back while they're doing renovation in the front, or can rent the front. So ADU, accessory dwelling unit, is the most common use, but we've received orders and already shipped units to glamping resorts. So glamping, or glamorous camping, is a rapidly growing industry. It's brand new. I mean, still, people love outdoors. If you have a family, you can take everybody in a car or a van and drive to a beautiful spot. And at the same time, you can stay in a very, in glamorous accommodations and very comfortable accommodations. So we see tremendous, a lot of entrepreneurs starting this camping glamping resorts. It can be a farm like Bill, like your farm,
Yeah.
where people would want to come out, or it can be a property by national park. Lots of people go to national parks, and there are very small accommodations, or people are forced to use to camp. So and we have a unit that we have a customer in Big Sur, California, central coast here. For a small unit, they get $750 a night, and the unit is very popular. It's a community called Three Bones. And then on the lower end, it can be a backyard studio. So there are many people that will still continue to work virtually. Some people use it as a podcast studio because it's very well insulated and very quiet. And then some people just have a unit that, if your in-laws or your family or friends come in and want to stay in, you have a small unit that just has a space for a bed in your backyard. So the range of uses is pretty much anything you can imagine that can be built on the property. There are some owners of RV parks or camping sites that want to expand them with a very comfortable and very nice unit. So I really think that, like I said, short-term rental, long-term rental, additional space for the house, you name it, and our units can be used for these purposes.
Yeah, that's what I thought was really cool about this, especially with my farm. I've been thinking about putting a tiny house there and a couple of dome tents, but this is really great. Like just show up, put on site. You even have a unit that's kind of on wheels that could be moved around if it had to. So we were talking about that.
Yeah, our units on wheels are very popular. We received national accreditation called ANSI, American National Standard Institute. So they're approved in 50 states. And it'll come on wheels, and now you can just tie it down and connect to local utilities. You can be in business literally in the months. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the most interesting to me. And then I was thinking everybody that has a Airbnb campsites, like you said, glamping resorts really popular. People that I know that have mobile home parks or RV parks or storage units with extra space, apartment buildings with extra space, like you said, podcast studios, all kinds of stuff. ADUs very popular on the West Coast, like Washington, California, some of the states that just ADUs have been, especially in California, is huge with ADUs right now. A lot of our people in our community are building those. And you said Big Sur. You showed me a picture of that property. It's got a beautiful view up on the mountain and $750 a night, guys. And how long did it take for the guy to make his investment back on that property?
120 days. I mean,
120 days.
That's what I call a return on investment. Good return on investment. I'm not sure what percent it is, but it's
unbelievable. And now I don't think I'll get that on my farm because the view that he has on Big Sur in California is very different. But I could see renting.
I heard you have a great farm, so no.
I could see renting this for $100 to $150 a night or something like that. And honestly, being full the majority of the time, like that's very inexpensive for like a studio unit that I could rent, just like a tiny house, about the same. And instead of a tiny house costing me, close to $100,000, this is, almost half the cost. So what are the size range of these? And then what is like maybe a rough estimate of cost? And how would somebody who wants to buy it kind of price it out?
Sure. The sizes range from as little as hundreds for modules, as little as 100 square feet all the way to 180 square feet. They're stackable horizontally. So you could do up to 1,500 square feet home using our modules. But to give you a range, so small 100 unit square feet, like backyard studio, is under $20,000, $19,900, right? The unit that's 180 square feet with bathroom and kitchen is $39,900. The same unit on wheels, includes a chassis and wheels, is $49,900. Really, when people go on our website under product site, they can explore all kind of options. and different designs. For colder climates, we have something called A unit. It has an A frame, so if there is snow, it's very good for that use. We have some very modern designs, and we have 4 different designs. So pretty much, we've gotten what people were inquiring or were interested in as we were designing this and come up with different designs. But yeah, a 2-bedroom, 900 square feet is under 200,000, totally finished and beautifully finished. While the structure, like I said, we have like 4 different designs on the website. The way you do interiors is highly customizable. We have a configurator that we can spend half an hour and design your whole, no matter what size. But to have the choices for cabinets, finishes, flooring, all of those kind of things, and for almost every one of those categories, 2 to 4 different choices. So you can have, and color-wise also, we have some standard colors, but it's very easy to match it to your environment, to the way to your look. Yeah.
So, so the process for somebody, let's say somebody has a glamping resort or was looking for an Airbnb, has some land somewhere, wants to put one of these, they go to the website and then they can just click around, or do they get on the phone with somebody? How does that work?
Yeah, right now they can make a small $250 totally refundable deposit to secure the space in line and in the production line. That's my suggestion. Once it's done, one of my colleagues can get on the phone and do a 30-minute Zoom, and you can do a custom design. In just about 2 weeks, we'll have this configurator on our website as well, so they could play around with it. But the best way is to really, like I said, make a deposit. That way you have somebody who will give you individualized attention and spend time. And then they'll email you the link to configurator so that you could either do all the configuration during the half an hour call, or you could spend time with your family or friends or partners to review what you want to do and then finalize it. And then once it's finalized, we have like 4 different deposits. So 10% deposit for us to secure exactly the time when you want to make it. And then of course, by the time, we basically walk through. So by the time it's made, you have a chance to pay for it. We can assist you with financing. We can assist you with permitting if necessary. Like I said, some of the smaller units under 120 square feet in most of the country don't require a permit. In Florida, we just had a customer yesterday getting a 180 square feet studio that's going to be like a pool house. In Florida, Texas, under 200 square feet doesn't require a permit. So we now kind of know what the different laws in different states, so we can assist you or find you a local permit expediter and really have a lot of knowledge on how to go about it. And but with our increased capacity, you literally can, if you can dream it, we can make it and then get to your property in a couple of weeks. I mean, where have you seen that in construction where you can say, yeah, I want it and I want it here, next month? That's normally, it wasn't possible until now.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. This is 100% the future of building low cost, quickly, high quality, really incredible stuff. I mean, under $20,000, you're like, that's like my horse barn costs twice, 2-3 times that, and I'm not living in it. It doesn't have a floor and it doesn't have any electricity. It doesn't have anything. It's just a bunch of wood. So, really incredible, especially I think like a lot of people are, there's companies that are building like fully finished sheds now and things like that are like about this size, and they cost that much or more. Like I was looking at paying $25,000 for a small shed to be a potential house for a rental on my farm. And that thing is not high quality. It's probably not going to last that long. Those kind of things. So really incredible, susceptible to termites, all of that stuff. Right. So we haven't even discussed all the
termites don't like plastic.
For sure. Like there's so many benefits, right, of this. Yeah. What would you say to somebody who's like, I think of like 100,000 water bottles in plastic and it just being like really like easy to push in and damage and break and things like that. I know you talked about the fiberglass, but that's probably potentially something people are thinking about.
Yeah, no. If you were to kick the tire on this product, I don't recommend it because it is really as strong as cement. So it's pretty incredible how fiberglass adds rigidity to the product. So it is not easy to damage. You have to make a real effort to damage. And we've already transported it around around the country, so it does just fine.
Yeah, and spending time talking to you, you guys have really thought through a lot of the potential objections, some things that people might be asking. You mentioned the UV stabilizer for color, color damage, like things like that, like the sun hitting it. And just, I'm really impressed with what you guys are doing. So I highly recommend, if you guys are interested, you can go to their website. I got a few more things to discuss, but $250 deposit, save your spot so that, you have an actual date, a timeline, those kind of things. Cause I'm certain that this is the future and this is going to get really, really popular. So, if this is something you're interested in, if you're looking for Airbnb, your properties, like I'm sitting here on my farm going, I need one of these things. Make your deposit, get your spot in line, because I know after Gene came to this event, there's a lot of people that are talking to him about, promoting this, talking about it. So I think it's incredible. Like, I'm really excited as an engineer, my whole life trying to figure out how things work. I love innovation. I love new things. And I think that this is really the future of building. Like, and I thought concrete was before I talked to you, actually. So we've been talking about concrete 3D printing for a long time and just trying to figure out where the future is of that, because it feels like it's moving really slow. And it probably is because they're seeing a lot of the issues that you talk about, raising costs, a lot of the carbon emissions and things like that. So you've also raised some money for this project. So typically when people raise money, you got to start up, you're trying to build new facilities, bring something like this to market. They're raising a ton of money. I was actually shocked that you guys hadn't had to raise more money than you did. And also typically when companies raise money, it's only for rich people. It's only for the accredited investor. It's only for the, millionaire plus. And all the other folks that want to get involved in this don't get involved until it IPOs and goes public, and then they can start buying stocks. And at that point, the company is valued very high compared to early on. Maybe you can talk about that, and then some of the things that you're doing to allow the smaller investor to potentially invest with you guys.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this question, Bill. So initially, with all the R&D that was required, my business partner and I invested our own money. We didn't feel comfortable going to others to raise money for this until we knew that it can work. So there was quite a big of investment from the get-go. But then in 2022, once we proven the concept, we started the raise. And while a majority of the money, we raised a total of $4.4 million so far. And majority came from some larger funds and some accredited investors. About $3.4 million came from that. But a friend of mine introduced me to the concept of crowdfunding. And I really love that concept because just like what you said, crowdfunding allows smaller investors, not accredited investors, to be part of something like this. And so we've done 3 different rounds and now have a round open through crowdfunding. They can go to our website and at the very top of the site say invest now. Minimum investment is again $250. Our average investor invests about $1,000. And it really democratizes the process. And for a product like ours, some of our best ambassadors are also people who invested in the company, because not only are they buying it, they know how to use the product for their own use, but they also spread the word. So we have many, many investors who are both customers and now our partners. So the way the crowdfunding works is it's they can invest very easily through our website, but it's on the site that we work with is called WeFunder. WeFunder raises money for some innovative startups, and also it's now become much more accepted. Many of the Y Combinator companies that raise money from Y Combinator are now on WeFunder. So WeFunder.com/Azure. And right now the campaign is only open to kind of people, like your listeners and our friends and family and customers. But it will be open very soon. The campaign is only going through April 30, so we only have a month to go. But to get a preferred valuation, you really want to invest as soon as you can, because the way that the campaign is designed, that first $250,000 invested, 32 million valuation, and then after that it goes to 40 million. And when we started raising, some of our early investors came in at 12 million. So already people have doubled and tripled their value of their investment. So yeah, but it's still not too late. You're coming in at very, very early time, and we would love to have you for the ride. Again, it was great to see at the opening yesterday, have two of the very early investors. They invested when it was time unseen. We just literally just had a prototype and built our first prototype unit, and for them to come and see, several units being in production at the same time, it was great. They brought their kids to show them how well they've done.
Yeah. So let me just recap this. So there's a crowdfunding round that opens on April 1st. So by the time you hear this, it'll be open. We're going to try to put this out on Tuesday of next week. So I think that's April 2nd. So you'll have plenty of time throughout the month. But minimum investment, $250, and then you can go up from there. You don't have to be accredited. It's a crowdfunding Series A type raise through the SEC. They got all that. So that's very difficult and very expensive to do, by the way. As a multifamily syndicator, this is not something that we explore because it's very expensive. It takes a long time to do. There's a lot of paperwork and documents. So that's why almost all of our deals are just accredited investors. And I actually hate that I can't bring in more people that have $500, $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 that are not accredited. So this gives you an opportunity to invest in something that is in the early stages of investing. And so you can go to their website, and we'll share that here on the podcast in a minute. And at the very top on the right, it just says invest now. You click on it. It's got some information there, and you guys can read all about it. You can learn a little bit more on their website. But the first $250,000 that's raised on crowdfunding. So if you hear this, you'll hear this probably very early on in April. In the first $250,000, the valuation is lower. So did you say 32 million?
Yep.
Okay, so a $32 million valuation for the first $250,000, and then after that, it goes up to $40 million. And the way this, and I hope I'm explaining this right, but it's going to basically convert into equity in the future, right? So it's a convertible note.
No, you're exactly right. Yeah, it's done through an instrument called SAFE, and it's similar to a convertible note, and it converts at this valuation when the company has a liquidity event or when there is a large investor that comes in. The process was more extensive than I anticipated because it required an audit and all kind of filing and everything. Everything is on our website. You'll be able to read it and examine all the risks and all the information. And then there are also, we were able to post videos of people, both early investors and early customers, so that there are actual real people who've done very well, who've been part of our journey. But we're at the very beginning, Bill. I mean, we're still a small company, but have global vision, and we've built, I personally developed over 3,000 apartment units in the past and built a global company. So it is the most exciting thing I've ever been involved in, from affordable, fast, sustainable. It is the future. And there were several, as I said, several customers and investors came with their young kids. And one of the moms said, my son will not know how construction's been done. It's just, just like our kids don't know what the fax machine was. Yep. It's the same scenario. People young people who will not remember what construction was like in the future. This technology will be utilized and expanded.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this is the, I'm legitimately talking to you, Gene, on a podcast, met you this past week. And I heard you talk about it. I was walking on the beach in Pensacola on the first Zoom that I heard you talking about this. And I just said, okay, I have money in my IRA. I need to meet this guy. I want to talk to him because, I feel like I'm at the very early stage of meeting someone who can change the world and change the face of construction. And that's what's really exciting for me. And hopefully you guys hear it in me. And I'm not going to tell you that like how much I'm investing or what I want to do, because I want you to make your own decision. I know I have a lot of influence on the show, that people that listen to it, and take a look at it, see if this is interesting to you, watch some of the videos, get to know, listen to the show. I'm investing in somebody who has built a global company already, exited, made a bunch of money, done a lot of business in real estate and construction. And having met you, I have some belief here, and I'm really excited about it, because I mean, there's nobody else doing this. And you guys, we didn't even talk about the fact that you have a fully patented process, right?
Yeah. No, we filed patent for the process for design as well. The formulation of material, we're going to keep it as a trade secret. Coca-Cola still keep their formula as a trade secret, so we're going to put it in the vault. And material, actually, what we're able to do with it, and we're on the fourth iteration of the material. So while our initial kind of our initial contribution to this was the process, but as time goes on, it's the material and what can be done with it that's going to be the future. And so, while we're going to be opening factories around the U.S., around the world, we see following Coca-Cola model, licensing to people around the world, and providing them with our formulated material so that they can now install. And we have inquiries, Bill, from Australia and Canada that have shortages even higher per capita than we do. Yep. They've been accepting immigrants, but also from any place where there was a natural disaster or a war. So Turkey, they've had an earthquake now 3 years ago. They still have not fully rebuilt. So whenever there is, and the weather effects, the hurricanes, the wildfires are unfortunately getting worse. And of course, so many wars. But whenever there is a need to rebuild with a new quality product that's good for the environment and can be done quickly, I really see our solution as an incredible potential.
Yeah, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the patent process, the trade secret is basically once you patent something, you actually have to give everyone and tell everyone exactly what your formula is. And so not patenting things a lot of times are allowing you to have a competitive advantage in business because you're keeping a trade secret, as Gene said. So
patenting technology makes sense because it's very precise, but patenting material, somebody could just add a little bit to our formula and say that it's their own product. Yeah. So you're exactly right.
Yeah. So it gives a little bit of more value to the company. It makes it a little bit more difficult for other people to kind of catch up and do those things. I mean, the whole goal is a competitive advantage for the business. And especially if you're an early investor, you definitely want those kind of things to happen. So I guess what I'd like to end with is maybe like cast a little bit of vision for the future. You talked a little bit about going kind of global, Canada, some other places like that are in higher need. But what's like the current plan? So is it a couple factories? Is it really ramping up kind of marketing and demand for this and printing more units and selling a lot more? What's kind of the plan that an investor could see from one of the co-founders to cast the vision of where it's going so they can hey, this is the plan.
Yeah. So the plan is to really achieve full production in our current facility. We've gone from 1 printer to 3 printers, so we have a lot more capacity. And so most of the money that we're raising now is going to go toward marketing. We're opening second facility with state help. So where first raise was primarily targeted towards raising capital for equipment, now we're raising capital for marketing and building out the team. In 25, we're hoping to be, like I said, the plant in every time zone. So we're hoping to have 4 factories by the end of 25 around the U.S. and start licensing around the globe. Hopefully 1 or 2 facilities. I've mentioned places where there have been disasters, places where there are shortages, places where people are used to living in smaller units, like in Asia. We have lots of interest from Southeast Asia and Japan. Our units currently just can be built vertically, so we can do, really the units are now can be, expanded horizontally, so 1-story units. But we are getting a lot of demand for our units to go vertically, to go high. So part of the proceeds of this raise is going to go towards testing how we can nest the units in a mid-rise or high-rise building. So that's kind of, in terms of the product, we're seeing how can units be utilized in some multi-story structures. So expand for what we have now this year, go national, reduce deliveries next year, and then go global the following year and have some kind of a exit event, possibly going public or doing a joint venture with a major home builder in 3 years. So that's kind of what our plan is.
Awesome. So not really expected to be a really long timeline, actually. So you mentioned earlier liquidity event, going public, something like that to be the conversion time. And so not looking at, 10, 20 years before something like that happens, actually a shorter timeline.
Yeah. No, we've been at this now. Well, everybody's amazed how quickly we've gotten, but we've been working, now for almost 5 years. And it's been a lot of our own personal resources and a lot of time invested in this. So I really think that in about 3 years from now, to really go global, we will need to have a either going public event or some kind of other event that will accelerate our growth. So that's our plan.
Well, I'll say I'm grateful to have met you this week. It's been really incredible just kind of hearing what you're doing. I'm in awe of it. I'm in the midst of building a software company myself. And so I know what the upfront investment is, money and time, and 2 years of R&D behind the scenes before you even show it to anyone right now. So, and you're at a much larger scale than me. So this is really incredible to watch. And I'm just thankful to be connected. And honestly, I've never done something like this. I've never really brought something like this on the show where it's an opportunity for people. So there's really two things that we talked about today, guys. One is you might be a customer of this. It might be something that you're interested in placing somewhere, whether it's on your farm like me, whether it's at in an ADU behind a house that you own, one of your rental properties, and you buy some land and place one of these there. It's on a hunting ground. It's in your backyard as a podcast studio at 100 square feet, instead of turning a shed into your studio and workspace, you actually have one of these. And especially as more of these factories come up a little closer to you, easier, but unbelievable opportunity for us to buy a turnkey housing solution that shows up in weeks, not years or months. And then the second piece is become an investor and own a piece of this company. It's very rare that you get that opportunity or you're in the right room to actually even find out about this. And then you find out too late. Like how many things that went public and you're like, oh, I wish I knew about that when it started. That's something that I see here. And the reason why I wanted to bring Gene on is because I wanted to open it up to my people to come along with me. So, and by no means am I telling you that you should invest. You absolutely have to invest any of those things. I just wanted to present this opportunity to you because it was provided to me. And very rarely can I bring somebody in that has $250 or $500 or $1,000 on a ride like this. So, if you've been struggling to find some things or some areas, or you want to diversify outside of just the stock market or outside of just real estate, this is actually a business opportunity that you could jump into. One quick last question. Can they invest with an IRA or a 401k if it's self-directed, or does it have to be?
Bill, they can invest with IRA or a retirement account.
Okay, amazing. All right, let's share the website and where they can go, and if there's anything else that you want to kind of leave them with. I think this is incredible. I'm really excited for the opportunity that our folks have here.
Bill, I really want to thank you for bringing me on. You're a visionary, and I could see your eyes sparkle the moment you saw my video, and lots of other you and your listeners are going to be in a great company. There are so many entrepreneurs who invested in the business, who already bought the units. I'm just excited about the opportunity I can bring in to people to bring additional, passive income for their investments, and to be part on this incredible ride. And I really believe that it's our partners, our customers who will help us grow and take it global. So again, thank you so much for your time, and it was great to meet you, and best of luck to you and your listeners.
All right, thanks. Yeah, definitely a sparkle in my eye. I'm excited. So Azure Printed Home, A-Z-U-R-E, printedhomes.com.
Homes.com.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly right.
And we'll put the link in the show notes. We'll put the link in the email. You guys can email me, info@sevenfigureflipping.com. If you can't find it, you want more information, anything like that. And like Gene said, the whole month of April is open for investor. And I mean, you could do both. You could grab a unit and invest. And I look forward to seeing where this goes in the future. So I've got, I can't invest my IRA money in my apartments or anything that I do. So it's a great opportunity for me to get involved as well. So, and my kids have some IRA money. I'm like, oh, hey boys, let me show it to you. What do you guys think? Do you guys want to get involved in this? So really exciting for us as a family too, to kind of go on this journey with you. But I've been looking for something like this that was like cutting edge, tip of the spear kind of stuff that is going to really break through. And in an area that I know, like real estate, I know that this is highly needed. So it's great for us. So Gene, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to talking with you more and more and spending some time and hopefully getting one of these things out to the farm. So really great meeting you and spending time with you today and getting to know you a little bit better. Thanks for being here. So Azure, A-Z-U-R-E, printedhomes.com. We'll drop the link. And Gene, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bill. Have a great day.
You too.